They know how to frame their shots, they know how to write dialogue, they know how to craft these stories, and then they're using the AI technologies and video models and audio models to get that kind of precision in terms of the visual that they would have had to spend hundreds of hours on in After Effects or in a VFX software. But the ones who really excel are those ones who, have that type of video production background. AI creativity competition, it's something that really isn't possible without these AI technologies, because it's not just putting out an open call and hoping the submissions come in. It's doing marketing like this, building community, raising sponsorships, doing customer support. We human review every single submission. It's not based on upvotes or views, because sometimes that can be gamed. People, there are always bad actors. What we try to do is we bring together a collective of people who we know they have good taste. We have these judging guidelines. So I could take this audio that we're recording in this podcast and apply it would use the same intonation, it'd use the same inflection, and you can use one of these voices that we have available, whether there are regular voices, whether it's your own clone voice.
You are listening to AI Insights San Francisco by Roan Weigert.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this new AI Inside San Francisco episode. Today, I'm with Matty Shimura. We're going to talk about filmmaking, AI, and film competition. Matty, thank you so much for you to being here today.
Thank you so much for hosting me. I'm excited to dive into some of the creator side and also, recap how we, met almost 1 year ago. So it's nice to be able to circle back.
Amazing. So for people that don't know, Matty Shimura is a filmmaker and executive producer and leading global AI creator competitions at ElevenLabs. He found the Project Odyssey, the largest AI filmmaking initiative, where now he's working on the Chroma Awards. We're going to be discussing about this today and focus on making AI tools accessible for creators at scale. So can you tell me what projects you're working on right now?
Yeah. So thanks for that great description. I had started back as a filmmaker for 17 years or so. From there, I had transitioned to VR storytelling, working with photogrammetry, and I found myself at this impasse. I had to make a career shift, and I went back to some of my filmmaking roots. I found some of the AI stable diffusion tooling, and from there, I did a variety of competitions and started Project Odyssey, which became the world's largest AI film competition in terms of number of submissions. And I brought that idea to the ElevenLabs organization, where we're running the Chroma Awards, which is this film, music, and games competition. We like to think of it like an Olympics, where we're bringing together the top companies, creator communities, and individual people to have this egalitarian free market gauntlet. Just like you'd have using that model of the Olympics, we have all these different categories, whether they're music videos or vibe-coded games or films, to let people showcase their creation, showcase how they can compete, and be able to make a wonderful competition.
That's awesome. It's interesting because we come from the very similar background where we merge videography and also software as well. And then this makes a very unique skill set for this transformation that we have right now.
I think that's, an important distinction, because many people say all of the people who are doing AI filmmaking, right, they have no experience, right? They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to tell stories. But I think that the people who I've met, who are also those who are most skilled at using it, come from those traditional creative backgrounds. They know how to frame their shots. They know how to write dialogue. They know how to craft these stories. And then they're using the AI technologies and video models and audio models to get that kind of precision in terms of the visual that they would have had to spend hundreds of hours on in After Effects or in a VFX software. But the ones who really excel are those ones who, have that type of video production background.
Because the tools are very good and, of course, improving literally every day. So then every day you're going to see something new, a new feature. But you need to have this view. You need to understand like how to position the camera, how to position your shot, like say how to do a script. Because by the end of the day, this is what matters. The human experience, the human in loop, that's going to bring the results. And if you have already this background, this definitely makes a lot of difference. But at the same time, I see people that are starting now, they don't have much experience on the video production or zero experience, but they kind of go by intuition and get good results too.
I think it's hard because watching movies and TV shows, it's common to the human experience, right? Where everyone has had that idea at some point of this would make a great TV show, this would make a great movie, but how do we actually build that and actualize it? So we see a lot of people who, not everyone can go to film school. Not everyone can live in Hollywood or know someone at the studio lot in order to get your idea greenlit. There's so many of these barriers to entry and gatekeepers. So what we're trying to do through this competition is make it so it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much financial backing you have or, where you went to film school, even if you went to film school at all. What matters most is if you have that idea and you're able to execute it and communicate it the best.
Nice. And we met around a year ago on the event of Free Peak. You were launching, I think it was the middle of the Project Odyssey. Mm-hmm. And how was the process of building this huge challenge, this huge competition? And what was the outcomes? What do you see things that was very outside the box that you're not imagining that could happen?
Yeah, so I think this type of AI creativity competition, it's something that really isn't possible without these AI technologies because it's such a short time frame. We have 1 or 2 months for people to create. We accept submissions, a couple months earlier. But it's really a stress test of how can you try out these free trials from an amazing set of partners. We've worked with, FreePick and Magnific is how we originally met. And then we've brought on some great other sponsors besides ElevenLabs, such as ByteDance, Dreamina, and CapCut, and also FAL. Really trying to showcase how all these tools can have their niche where people can have accessibility to try it out for the first time. But like you said, some people are coming in from that background of never having tried it before. Right. And there's so many of these moving pieces I don't think people realize how complex it is to run one of these competitions because it's not just putting out an open call and, hoping the submissions come in. It's doing marketing like this, building community, raising sponsorships, doing customer support. People have a lot of questions, helping educate people, giving the free trials, all the legal and other negotiations, events. So it is almost like running a startup within a startup. And I've been really thankful for the ElevenLabs team where they've provided a lot of the resourcing and team to be able to hyperscale this initiative and really bring all of these legitimate partners into the mix where we have Andreessen Horowitz, we have all of these great industry partners who are lending their legitimacy. They're sending their creator audience to it, their competitors, and we think it's going to be the world's biggest AI creative competition.
When was the moment that you realized the traditional filmmaking, the traditional videography changed, and what was your first reaction to this change and how you adapt, or how did you surf into this, and how you because you have been also building community, building partnerships around that. How was this transition for you?
So for me, what the way I made this shift from more traditional short films and documentaries, which was most of my past experience, to more of integrating AI technologies for rotoscoping, for these parts of editing and sound design, I think I had to have a reality check. And I have done independent filmmaking for years. I've been featured at some film festivals here and there, but it was more of a side hustle or a hobby. And if I had to ask myself, would any of my films make it to theaters? Would they make it to streaming in Netflix? Realistically, it's a really difficult path to get there. It's a pipe dream.
Right.
And what excited me about AI was I had all of these ideas that I wanted to tell. They would just gather dust in my sticky notes or, in my notebook. And even if it wasn't able to get 100% of my vision, even if I was able to get 80% of what I wanted, that was just so amazing to be able to feel empowered to create it and see it come to life. And, it wasn't perfect, and it still isn't, but at least it was kind of getting towards that path. So for myself, I thought I could be that hands-on creative, but also I could be that facilitator where the companies using the tools don't always understand the creators and artists who are
users. Yeah, the users. Yeah,
they have this messaging of cheaper, better, faster disruption, and that does not, that alienates essentially the target user, the people who are going to be best at using those skills, the artists, the creatives who have that traditional experience. But there must be some solution. There must be some way for us to find this middle ground to bring these two sides together so it's not so vitriolic and antagonistic where it's us versus them, but instead trying to frame it as two sides of the same coin. Everyone wants to tell their stories at the end of the day without having to be half, entrepreneur to raise the funding for your film. People want to be able to focus on the fun bits, the creation, the character design, the story arcs. And I think the AI tools enable them to do that. So I think that's what really made the shift for me is it, it has its challenges. There are many of these ethical gray areas, but just the ability to be able to create work and get it out there without having to go through these barriers to entry, I think was really game changing.
One thing that you mentioned is very interesting about the gap between the companies that are producing these very interesting tools and very disruptive tools and the users. So one way is to do competitions like this that which connect the dots. So you give some free credits, they use it, and then the companies, they do the product improvements and fixing bugs and think about different use cases and go back. So that's a very fast way.
Yeah.
What other ways the companies and the users can connect and interact with each other to have a better product market fit between both sides?
Yeah, it's hard to bring those two sides of companies and consumers together because building community is hard. It takes a lot of effort. There's a lot of customer service things that can go wrong where sometimes companies like to focus more on the enterprise side, closing these big multi-million dollar deals versus trying to manage
final user.
Manage a community of 10 or 20 or 30,000 people. That's often so much bandwidth, and it's hard to scale up. I think both are important because the enterprise side, it's what pays the bills at the end of the day. It's what makes the financial model work.
Right,
companies have to raise money. They have they have these operational costs. And sometimes they hope that, more downstream, whether it's people integrating them via API, whether it's through partnered products, that they'll just naturally get the users in the community. But I think that the best way, the competition is a great avenue for it because it's accessible. It's, there's no charge to enter. It gives you free trials. It's low commitment. I think the meetups too are great to just meet people, put a face to a name. I think sometimes it can be so isolating because AI is so empowering, you can just do it at home by yourself. But conversely, there's something that's lost. I think part of the creative filmmaking process that I've really enjoyed is being on set, working with my friends to, one person's manning the boom mic, another's on camera,
another's on a light.
You have the actors, and it's all this collaboration. But that's lost a little bit with AI, where even if you have a team, it's more, you send the video files to someone. So I think being able to bring back the human side of it, the warmth behind all of these projects, there are true creatives. They are putting a ton of work, passion into making these projects, and I think that part of it gets lost. People often think of AI as this black box where you say, "Give me a movie that does X, Y, and Z," and then
Come back with a movie.
yeah, it just out pops. This video clip you can share to social media. But there's so much education and hard work that people go into learning these tools to really, getting all of those processes to tell the story that they want to tell. So I think that behind the scenes element, these case studies where you can show, be able to empathize with the people. I think that's a great way for the companies to connect with the users.
And now I'll continue the discussion about the competition. And how do you judge the quality of the work that has been done? Because if you talk about like a regular Grammy Awards or Oscar Awards, that's already standardized for many years, and we know like the I would say the requisites and everything else. But now we are talking about something new. That it is still unbuilt, and how you're able to measure those things, how you're able to evaluate the results, and what is considered realistic and supposed to be realistic, what is supposed to be more conceptual. It's hard, right?
Yeah, it's very difficult to determine that metric for success for what is good, so to say. Even with the Oscars or the Emmys, these other award shows, some of it is objective, some of it is subjective. People have their own opinions and there's their own process. For us, we really wanted to make sure that what's making it to be, what's winning the Chroma Awards and winning these various categories really is the best of the best. It's best in class. It's, showcases the high production value, good sound design, follows the rules of the category. To do that, we human review every single submission. It's not based on upvotes or views, because sometimes that can be gamed. People, there are always bad actors. So what we try to do is we bring together a collective of people who we know they have good taste. We have these judging guidelines where we, based on the competitions we've run in the past, where we can say this is a 10. This is a 5, this is a 2, and are able to make this baseline kind of standardization of what we're looking for and what we're not. Each of these categories has their own slightly different rules and guidelines, so we try to consolidate it as much as possible. But our first round, we watch all of the films and we sort it into these essentially buckets of good films versus, ones that really are contenders for those awards. Then based off of our 5 criteria, we watch them all again. We score them. We have multiple judges who are scoring it, so we try to be as fair and impartial as possible. And then the top 25 submissions per category move on to the next round for the finals, where we have, similar to the Olympics, where you would have like an ice skating judge panel. We would have 4 judges for each of our 25 categories. Those 4 judges have specific domain knowledge in that category. They're not judging every film from the competition. They're judging ones that they've, genres that they've worked in, industries that they're more aligned to. And then they pick the final winners from that top 25. And what we try to do is the competition has all of these different colors or modalities of ways people like to create. Filmmaking is not just black and white. It's this whole spectrum of people love to make. Some people love to make art house indie films, which I think, is kind of that like Tribeca Runway AI Film Festival vibe, which I really love and appreciate. Other people like to make music videos or
commercials,
marketing and spec ads. And some people like to make, comedy films. Others like to do vibe coded games. So we want to have a home for all of those different ways people like to create, have these constraints where there's a general thing we're looking for in terms of the theme or the genre, but not restrict the creativity. We don't require people to use any specific tools. They can use whatever tools they want as long as they use at least one AI tool in a significant way. But what we hope is that they just, make what they want to make and are able to tell that story in a way where if they have that best idea, they're able to rise to the top.
Okay, so now talk about the rights and permissions. We see a lot of tools now have some like lawsuits between, let's say, Disney and Midjourney, and there's things that there's no clear legislations about what's happening right now, and the lawsuit is still running. How do we, on this new age of content production, generative AI, how can we understand where we are right now to don't use things that are not supposed to be? Because you're talking about both sides. You talk about tools that have those amazing, you can get amazing results, but there's those contents have been produced for other people before, and learned from other people before, and other very interesting people. How can we bridge both this gap? Should don't use things that are supposed to be used.
So in the competition, we have a very clear set of guidelines where for using IP, cinematic universes, music, all of that, you have to have the explicit permissions. Likeness is another one, and that it follows the terms of service of all of these different tools. So for showing, the Nike logo, we say that, try to be more inventive, make your own apparel or fashion brand. It's going to hurt your originality score. Part of that is for the legality aspect of it. Another part of it is we want to push people to not just make these rehashes, their version of Star Wars or their version of Wes Anderson, but think beyond that and not just use AI as a gimmick, but rather as something that it empowers something that you wouldn't have been able to do before. We offer a variety of open source, closed sourced, commercial safe models too. We let people draw the line in the sand for what they want to use. The ElevenLabs music model, which we're featuring, is all commercial safe. It's all fully licensed. So, that's good news for some of the creators who want to be able to use that. But we're not prescriptive in terms of saying,
you need to use ElevenLabs for this project.
Even for the competition, we recommend it, but it's not a requirement because we don't want to force anyone's hands. But in terms of the IP, the likeness, the characters and things like that, that is a requirement to just make that super super clear. And then for I think creators, right? There's James Cameron. He had a great quote about inputs versus outputs, where these tools are using various training data sets, but we should judge things based on the end result. And that's the approach we take for the competition. But we, lay it all out there. We're trying to be transparent and accessible about how these tools are used. We're not trying to hide anything in a corner. So we just want to start a dialogue to see and, pay respect to the people who have brought media and entertainment into making such to the world, right? I love classic films and movies and TV shows, and I don't want to see that
go away.
No, I don't think, no one I've talked to in the AI industry, I think there's this false perception that we want to forget everything that happened before and just move on to this new thing. I think there's a way for all of that to work more in collaboration than competition.
Yeah, I see. I can see that. Sure. And now I want to go over some of ElevenLabs they have been working. So I have been using have the video production company. So I have been using some of the projects to create voiceovers on top of projects, and has been very very interesting to do different languages. So the client wants, I want in English, in Portuguese, and Spanish, and we have the text there, just do the translations, and then we export there and have the same voice, different languages. Very interesting to do localization of content, run ads, and also have been using ElevenLabs to if like an hour webinar an hour of content, there's like one word that was wrong. I don't want to go there and
Re-record it.
record everything because that one word or one sentence. So we just clone the voice and then fix that piece.
Nice.
So I have been using for different varieties of projects, and it has been very interesting for seeing this on the production level. And the clients, first, they sometimes they don't know. And then you tell them, and I was like, oh, wow, I didn't even notice. So I see this in a very practical commercial way to use that. Can you go over some other use cases that or some interesting?
Claim to fame for ElevenLabs is our text-to-speech model, where you can use the library of voices that we've made, or you can even design your own voice. You can say, I want a scary witch character for your film, for example. So you're able to use text-to-speech. You can also revoice yourself. So I could take this audio that we're recording in this podcast and apply it it would use the same intonation, it'd use the same inflection, and you can use one of these voices that we have available, whether there are regular voices, whether it's your own clone voice, whether it's one of our iconic voices. We have worked with the states of like Burt Reynolds and a variety of other famous actors who've given their licensed their voices for people to use for specific use cases. More recently, there's been the sound effects side of it, which is really exciting. Mm-hmm. So for making Foley for your sounds or commercials, you're able to do text to sound effect and essentially, make that water drop or that horse galloping around and able to generate that. And then most recently, it's the music API. So whether it's just for listening to music or making background music for your film or making a whole music video off of these songs with great lyrics. And I think ElevenLabs, the real specialty where we, I think, excel is the voices, right? Since the text-to-speech models are so good, the singing in some of the music models it's been synergistic. So it works really well together.
It's so natural, and I clone my voice. It's like, is that me? And even to transform the voice, I test the feature to transfer the voice. So then we record, and then we want to say to like this male actor to do a female voice, mm-hmm. or vice versa. It also works very interesting. I noticed now they recently had an update for you can do some intonation on the
mm-hmm.
voice, so you can
V3. You can give these little kind of director's notes.
Yeah.
Say this one in a whisper. Say this one angrily. You can give it some of those.
That's
those
one thing I was kind of missing, because you can go to the voice actor and tell them to do this, but then before I was like very like standard. You're gonna read and say the way that they think it's supposed to be saying, and now we can give some.
And it's very hard just if you're just writing it as a prompt or writing it as a sentence. To how do you get so much of the that emotion and the intentionality?
Yeah, this makes a lot of difference. Still in progress. I was testing around, but it's very good, the end result, if you're able to promptly write. Yeah. For builders, could be even people that has like with experience, without experience, and they want to build AI video portfolios. And what do you suggest to them? How they start, and where should they share it? What kind of place they could go and be to share to the world what they're building right now?
I think for AI creators who want to get started, whether they're intermediate, right? Have some familiarity with the tools and they have made some films in the past, or they're complete beginners. I think there are a couple, great ways to center yourself. The tools are going to change, whether it's the video models, whether it's, any of the different kind of adjacent tools. But I think it's really useful to think about, as those change, what are those core things that stay the same? I think it's, what are your motivations of your characters? What is your story arc? How's your editing and pacing? These things have, no matter what project you're doing, it's going to be a really important piece of it. And I think that's really the differentiator, especially when it comes to sound design. You could have the most amazing visuals, but if your sound design is bad, it's not balanced.
50% of the video
It's too loud.
is audio.
Yeah, it can really. Yeah, George Lucas, I think, had said 50% of your film, the watching experience and the immersion, is from the audio side. So I would recommend spending a little bit more time on, not just simply laying down a voiceover track, but thinking about the music, thinking about the world you're trying to build. And then for platforms, I think, just putting it out there, putting it out online, r/AI video on Reddit is a great place to see what other people are creating, or submitting it to our competition. We have no limit on the number of entries you can submit, and there are opportunities to win. I think we have over 150,000 in cash prizes. So the submission period is from September 1st to November 3rd is what we're aiming for.
Okay, so it's happening very soon.
It's happening, pretty soon, and we're gonna have our winners before the end of the year.
Cool, amazing. And I wanna before we're gonna go to the rapid fire questions, I'm gonna answer a proper question and have around like 20, 30 seconds to reply. Do you have anything else you want to add to this conversation that I think is relevant?
I guess I would add that, it is still very early days. I think we see it on social media. We see it on, the news all the time where they're saying these AI tools are taking over, and, sometimes it might feel overwhelming. It might feel like you're too late to the party. I'd still say, creativity is part of human nature. Rick Rubin, I think, had the creative act. He said, creativity is for everyone. So I think it doesn't matter if you have never done one of these films before. All that matters is that you try it for the first time, come in with an open mind. It's okay to have reservations. It's okay to have criticisms of it. But I think if you are able to try it out, then it's really going to be game-changing for you.
Okay, so I have some questions here, and then just answer in your time.
Great.
One tool that you like to keep if all other went away?
The one tool I'd like to keep if all other would go away would be Adobe Premiere. For the traditional side. And then probably on the AI side, it would be the ElevenLabs voice isolator, since I like to record my own voiceover and it makes it sound studio quality.
I use this one I got better results than the Adobe Podcast, because Adobe Podcast make the voice like it's not artificial in a certain way. I know you can switch things there, but for the end result, it makes the voice so clear and crisp.
Yeah.
From the ElevenLabs, I've been testing both tools for production for like hours of courses I recorded. So yeah, that one definitely is a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Is there any prompt pattern you trust for voice and story pacing?
I think the prompts change all the time, whether, it's dependent on whatever the model's been trained with and tagged with, to using the LLMs, right, to help make your prompt. I think that there are some great templates using ElevenLabs where you can plug into any of these different GPT or Anthropic type models. So I'd just stay flexible with your formulas.
Okay. And is the most overrated trend in AI filmmaking right now?
Yeah. So I think the most overrated trend in AI filmmaking is calling it vibe filmmaking. I'm not a huge, I get the idea behind
the vibe coding,
vibe filmmaking, but I think it's too much of a buzzword.
Right. I agree with you 100%. The most underrated craft is skill for AI narrative creators.
I would say the most underrated skill might be, I've talked a little bit about sound design, but I think pacing is very important. Knowing in your film, not just having a scene for the sake of having it, but having it
meaningful way.
Be meaningfully add to the story. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a 10, 15-minute film where nothing really happens. I think being able to prioritize ruthlessly a little bit, and sometimes you have to take a scene out, you have to take a character out, because it makes the overall experience better.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you again for you to come here, and we discuss about the competitions. We discuss about ElevenLabs and other tools and prompt engineering, and very super happy for you to come here. And
Thank you for having me. It was an honor to speak about it.
thank you. And I see you guys in the next episode. Thank you.